So no one has had a more discussed transition to the WNBA than Caitlin Clark, obviously. Her welcome to the WNBA experience, welcome to reality experience was the topic of many headlines, conversations, and the way that she was received, the words pettiness and jealousy and other things were thrown out there a lot. But that's not the only sort of welcome Clark got. So I figured I'd focus on the positive for a second here, coming from her podcast appearance on New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelsey, because Clark revealed that she was supported by some within the WNBA, her teammates, and a WNBA legend, most notably Tamika Catchings, who, of course, played for and won an WNBA championship with the Indiana Fever. But Clark talked about going to the WNBA and what that was like. Basically, the notion that she is a star before she walks in and how that can lead to some awkwardness.
Like, you come in as a rookie and like you said, like you're trying to figure out a new environment, new teammates. Like you don't want to say too much. You don't want to say too little. And it's just so hard. But like in my scenario, and obviously you guys too, like you're already highly thought of. Like people are turning to you to like be something or be someone. So it's hard. Like you're trying to get your feet wet, but also not do too much. And I think that's kind of what I struggled in early on is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how they're going to react.
For not knowing, you nailed it.
But also, like, I had a lot of really good vets around me, too. So I feel very grateful for that. And we had a fairly young team, too. So, like, people had been through it fairly recently, so they knew how I felt. But, like, I feel like that definitely is a huge challenge. And that goes for whatever professional sport. Like, you're trying to learn, but also people are looking at you like, you got to perform and like be what they drafted you to be. And that can be tough. And like,
well, she definitely performed and definitely was what the Fever drafted her to be. That is clear and evident and obvious, right? But let's go to the other aspect of it. She talked about, her teammates, and she has young players there and veterans there and whatnot. But she was also asked about support that she got from vets or former players. And Clark was quick to single one former player out. And I thought it made for a nice sort of moment and something to be shared that we've sort of heard before, but hadn't heard in this level of detail.
One thing, you mentioned the vets, and I think, there's, for me at least, there was a lot. Some vets were incredible. Some of the vets, obviously, you're competing for jobs, so there's a little bit there, but you lean so much as a young player on your vets, and you lean so much from like, even just like in Philly, there's so many great players that played for the Eagles that like Harold Carmichael, who was a legendary Philadelphia Eagle, was like always around and willing to lend advice or anything. Did you have many former players or current players like reach out to you that really helped you in transitioning into the WNBA?
Yeah, there was, quite a few. Somebody that comes to the top of my head is Tamika Catchings, who was an MVP in the WNBA.
Yep. Yeah.
She won their championship here. I want to say 2012 when the Fever won their championship. She was like what made the Indiana Fever really good. Like that was our prime. That was when we were really good. And then after Tamika retired, the Fever kind of went down a little bit, as every team does once your, franchise player retires and moves away from basketball. And she's still really big here in the Indianapolis community. And she was one of the first people to text me after I got picked and still checks in on me. So it's cool.
Awesome.
It's like somebody that's not in your building every single day, but means so much to your community and to the organization. And to have that, like, she's like a legend. Her numbers up in the rafters. Like that's somebody I idolized and looked up to. And for her to just take, 2 seconds to check in on me and see how I'm doing. And that's obviously really special. So I would certainly say her. And we still have that relationship and it's still growing, and she still comes around now and then, and her championship trophy that she won like sits in our locker room. It's like right next to my locker. I'm like, great. The coaches probably placed
motivation.
That down.
Yeah, right. Hey, no pressure.
Yeah. So I have to look at it every day.
These are the shoes.
It's got like its own like glass case. I'm like, great.
Oh yeah, better. Hell yeah, better. Just a little motivation. This is what we're working for.
No doubt.
Absolutely. So, but yeah.
So it's nice to just hear that story from Caitlin's perspective and how, not every vet was out to get her. Not every former player wanted her to bow at the altar of the WNBA of years past. And of course, Catchings has a connection with the Fever, which certainly helps, but I'm sure she wasn't the only player either. But that's, you could tell it meant something to Caitlin because she was so quick to name her and she was so quick to go into the details around that, because she probably did. And she'll never say this publicly, but we all saw it. She probably did meet resentment and resistance, right? I don't even know if we need to use the word probably. So remember that quote where she was sitting there and she said, "I wish I got advice," that sort of feeling. So when she does get it and she does get the positive reinforcement, I'm sure it left a lasting impression and continues to leave a lasting impression. And then there's the funny bit about the trophy being in the locker next to hers, as she sees it every day, and come on, but that's a bit of a joke from Caitlin. But also, if you're a future Indiana Fever player, I mean, there's going to be no better person to reach out for advice on how to conduct yourself, handle yourself, excel, etc., than Caitlin Clark. And if you're a future Indiana Fever player, there is a very good chance that one day you will be in the locker room and the championship trophy that Clark's team won will be sitting there, as well as the one Catchings won, if not trophies, plural. That's what Stephanie White and the team and their stated goals, banners, trophies, plural, all them things. And hopefully it starts as soon as this year, right? For Clark and the Fever, that's got to be their goal. That's got to be the front office's goal as they head into free agency, as they head into the WNBA draft. And of course, with Caitlin detractors, that's the first thing they point to. She never won a championship in college, though she went to back-to-back. And I always find it amusing when they say she's never won anything at the WNBA level. Well, yeah, she was a rookie. In fact, I would say she won a lot at the WNBA level for a rookie, where she was drafted to get the team to the playoffs and turn them around to that extent. But in order for Clark's career to get where we all believe it's going to be, it is going to have to be culminated with a trophy. Like, I don't think you can call it a smashing success in the long run if she doesn't win a championship, but I almost believe that to be a foregone conclusion that will happen at least once, if not numerous times in her career, given the talent that's around her, given the organizational support that she has, and of course, given that she is a transcendent, once in a lifetime kind of player. So you add all those things up, looks pretty good going forward. But looking back, it was nice to see Caitlin have that moment and have that connection with Tamika Catchings, because obviously, given some of the struggles that she faced, it was probably nice to have something to rely on, some support to have her back.